All right, what is going on, sports fans? This is Jake Waxman
And Tyler Lavalette.
of Two Guys Talk Sports. We are bringing you episode number 4. Me and Tyler are discussing sports on a beautiful Friday morning. All right, I'm going to let Tyler take it away with whatever subject it is he wants to start on with. Go for it, Tyler.
We just had the wild card series ended, and we have one team that really surprised people has been the Detroit Tigers. To think, back in August, they only had a 0.2% chance of making the playoffs, and now they just took out the Houston Astros in 2 games at their ballpark down here in Houston.
Who would have seen that coming?
And now they're against the Cleveland Guardians on Saturday.
Absolutely. So I'll give you guys some quick thoughts if Ty's good with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember me and Tyler got to see both the Tigers and the Cubs in Wrigley back in August. And both, at the time, both were not yet eliminated, but both were kind of neck and neck in both of their respective conferences to get into one of those wild card spots. Of course, the Cubs won the game, but ended up being eliminated in the eventual NL wild card race. While Tyler's team, how about that? His team went to the playoffs, and they're making a lot of noise already and making a lot of Americans very, very happy.
There are a lot of people that don't like Houston, so the Astros, especially after the whole cheating scandal that broke in 2020. But so to see the Tigers take them out is quite a surprise. No one saw that coming.
I certainly did not either. To be honest, while I don't watch a whole lot of baseball, I thought the Tigers would be one of those teams that would they'd be closer this year to making the playoffs. I didn't have them in the playoffs per se, but they've exceeded a lot of expectations, especially with this young core that they have.
Mm-hmm. And the strategy of having only a few dedicated starters and doing bullpen days, where you have openers and then you go to your bullpen, it really throws teams off when they think, oh, we're facing one guy, and then it's like, oh, they're going to the bullpen already.
Yeah. Just want to say good morning to AJ, who's chiming in.
Hello there, AJ.
So, honestly, hey, you know what? When it comes, whether it's baseball or any other sport, when you get hot at the right time, you get hot and you start playing in your rhythm and you just ride that wave of momentum. And that's what these Detroit Tigers have done. Not only have they rolled into the postseason, but now they're rolling into the division series with a lot of full steam ahead, a lot of momentum.
Yep. Also in the ALDS, you got the Yankees facing the Kansas City Royals. That means 3 of the teams in the ALDS will be in the Central Division.
Absolutely.
And over in the NL West, you got two very regional focused rivalries with the Dodgers and Padres out west, and then the Northeast corridors with the NL East teams, the Mets and the Phillies.
How about that? So you could say it's, when it comes to the National League, coast to coast. So West Coast, you got San Diego and Los Angeles, and then coast to coast back to the East Coast. You got New York and Philadelphia all on the East Coast, and one from each of those sides will meet up, and that'll be your NLCS matchup.
Yep, and there's a good chance you might have. There's a small possibility of the American League Central having an ALCS matchup if the Royals can beat the Yankees.
Absolutely. Of course, I just want to comment and say, well, Brewers, they won the division that the Cubs were in, and then they still haven't figured out a way to the World Series in some time. Same old Brewers.
And if I'm the Phillies, I'd be worried about facing the Mets this weekend because, sure, you got the home field advantage, but the teams that have won, any team that's beaten the Brewers and has gone on to to go to the World Series, some teams have even won them at all too. The Brewers, it's a strange coincidence, but hopefully the Phillies can find a way to ensure that doesn't happen with the Mets.
Yeah, don't get caught looking too far ahead. That's key for pretty much the Phillies. Focus on the current series and play your brand of baseball that you've been playing all season long. To me, they've been the best team all season. Now let's see if they can continue to prove that, starting with the division series.
Yes, that all 4 games start Saturday. Then the NLDS plays on their games 2 on Sunday, and then because instead of you have baseball on a daily basis, you won't have 4 games, the possibility of all 4 series playing again until Thursday.
Absolutely. And I just want to comment a little bit about that, the Guardians Tiger series. That's going to be a really good series. In fact, all the series based on all the teams that I see, all of them could be really good series. Like they could all go to like 5 games in the snap of a finger. These are hungry baseball teams, very competitive ones too. And of course, you got a Tigers team that's got a lot of momentum. They're feeling red hot, and they're going to have to play a Guardians team that's been good all season long. Should be an interesting matchup. And if I'm correct, Tyler, the Guardians and the Tigers, they're from the same division in the AL, right?
Yes, like I mentioned, they are one of those 3 teams in the AL Central, along with the Kansas City Royals.
Just want to make sure I heard that right. So,
yep, there's a 3-hour difference between the two stadiums.
Absolutely. Should be a really good matchup.
Pretty short flight, too, or bus ride or whatever. Well, sort of like 3 hours, but flight's going to be short, so.
Yep. I was going to say, on a side note, there's a route I've taken from we're going to have to plug in this device because I think the battery is a bit low. So I've taken a trip to Toledo before, at least from a certain road. So sometimes I wonder if they'll take that same route going to Cleveland when the Tigers travel to Cleveland. I wonder if they'll have to go through that same highway to get to Cleveland through Toledo.
Could always take a short flight up to avoid your bus paying the tolls.
Yeah, then again.
Imagine the team they'd probably fly. I mean,
yeah.
Van, I'm sure Phillies and Mets and I'm sure it's probably going to be the same for those 2 ultra-regional rivalries, too, in the NL.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway, on to predictions. I have the Tigers in 5 against Cleveland. Yes, I feel a bit confident that they're going to do good, shock Cleveland. Sorry, Royals, but I feel like the Yankees are just too good. They'll probably go up against the Tigers in a, let's say, 4-game series. And on the NL side, it's going to be the Phillies denying the Mets the opportunity to make it to the World Series, and breaking that streak of beat the Brewers to go far. And on the West side, it's going to be the Dodgers. Boring chalk type of outcome on the NL, but but the thing is, the Phillies and Dodgers are the top 2 teams that got the bye to the DS for a reason.
Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna keep it short and simple in terms of predictions. I'm gonna go with the same teams Tyler's gonna. I'm gonna go Tigers in 5. I am also gonna go Yankees in 5. All series, 5 games. I think this is gonna be a wild division series. I'm gonna go 5 for all series. I'll go Dodgers in 5. I mentioned the Yankees in 5, Tigers in 5. Then trying to remember what was the last series.
Phillies Mets.
Philly. I think it'll be more competitive than usual, but I think the Phillies are just going to outlast the Mets.
Yeah, at some point, the Mets run is going to have to end eventually.
Yep. So
we thought it was going to end last night against the Brewers, and look how that turned out.
Morning, Rhonda.
Yes. Hi, Mom. Anyway, Jake, you got a topic on your mind?
Yes, I do. So for those of you who've been watching the news, not a whole lot of good news coming out of the South. Hurricane Helen made landfall, not just in Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, among a lot of the states that have been hit the hardest. So you're probably wondering, okay, how does this relate to sports? Well, a couple of athletes amongst the people are leading efforts to get supplies to those who need it. Among the guys leading the way is a former NASCAR driver by the name of Greg Biffle, who is leading pretty much a whole fleet of helicopter or a whole arrangement of helicopter pilots trying to go around to each of these states and get supplies to people who need them and help to rescue these people. One article I saw this morning was he was able to find and rescue someone just by seeing the reflection of their mirror. It is crazy stuff. So seeing a guy, a former NASCAR driver or a former athlete, whatever, however you want to say it, like Greg Biffle, going out there and doing the best he can and whatever he can to help those in need, it's an extraordinary story right now. What's your thoughts, Tyler?
Right. Yeah, that is pretty good. Good job there by the Biff. He did decent in NASCAR, won a couple races, and he did good in the lower divisions too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy had been respectable, and what he's done here shows true character and is very risky given the current situation still in the southeastern U.S.
Yeah, absolutely. And so from what I could tell, so he started going on his own at first, taking his private helicopter and landing wherever he could to get supplies and rescue people wherever he could. And since then, others have been kind of watching what he's been doing, and they're joining in, whether it's on the ground or even in the air with their own helicopters. It's a pretty extraordinary story right now.
That it is. That's pretty good. And he, like I said, kudos to Greg. And also, I saw NASCAR tracks got affected, but the most prominent one is Bristol Motor Speedway's entrance sign showing lettering's getting knocked off.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
Also, several highways got in like the Tennessee, North Carolina area got mangled up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Too. So there's going to be a lot of closures for obvious reasons.
Yeah. I'm also glad to see other sports like the NFL or the Carolina Panthers who are the North Carolina's NFL team. I'm glad to see that they're still able to continue to play games and the stadium or Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. I'm glad to see it hasn't been affected too much there. So, and to give you an idea of a little more insight into what Biffle's been doing, the kind of supplies he's been dropping off. It's not just water, but insulin, I've heard, is another thing that he's been dropping off, and anything that these people need to help them get through these next few days. So, but amongst the things that I've heard, water and insulin have been two of the biggest things. And there was even video on Fox News where Biffle actually spotted the guy with the mirror and was able to land not too far from his location and help him out. Pretty extraordinary story, to say the least.
So NASCAR tracks in Talladega are supply drop-off points now for relief efforts with the American Red Cross. Absolutely.
So, and the thing, these pilots are also having to improvise, like Greg Biffle. They've had to improvise, not just land on, like, as Tyler mentioned, places like Talladega where there are helicopter pads, but sometimes golf courses and anywhere where the land is flat. That's where these pilots will have to come down and land. But what Greg Biffle, like I said, what Biffle's doing is it's risky to say the least in more ways than one, but it's extraordinary. It's very, very extraordinary. And from what I can tell, it's pretty much, the community, not just like local communities, but these states as a whole. People from all over these states are stepping up and helping each other in any way they can through short flights, whether it's through fixed wing aircraft or helicopters. And one thing also I want you guys to keep in mind, a lot of these these drivers who go on to become NASCAR drivers, a lot of them end up getting their private pilot's license, and at least the license needed to fly helicopters, because they have to go from place to place or point to point via helicopter to get to wherever the next week's race is.
Yep. These guys don't take commercial for a reason.
No doubt about that.
And girls as well. There are females out there, right? So.
Yep. So anyway, so I just want to, that's been kind of on the top of my mind this morning, and it's wonderful when athletes step up in the face of adversity, like when there's been a hurricane. Guys like J.J. Watt, to say the least, who make really generous donations.
Yep, that guy won Walter Payton Man of the Year for a reason after what happened with Hurricane Harvey.
Yep, made a really huge donation, and that donation alone got him the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. So, It's amazing what these drivers will. Not only the NASCAR drivers, but athletes across. When we have something like this happening, it's amazing that how these guys will step up and do what they can and whatever they have to help others, especially those affected by hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
And the damage from Hurricane Howard, it's hard to look at, and I've got a feeling it's a lot worse than what we've been shown so far.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes the pictures we see just don't do it justice in our grim way.
Yeah. So I will close out this topic by saying this. Greg Biffle, props to you, mad respect. Keep up the good work, and never stop being you.
Yep, you get the thumbs up in my book.
Mm-hmm. Great job by Greg Biffle, just being an absolute humanitarian. Yep. But before we close the subject, now, I actually went to North Carolina. I mentioned I did the Roush tour. My friends Mike and Shelly were also kind enough when we were out on the boat to take me right by Greg Biffle's house. And I tell you, it's a pretty big house, Tom.
Of course, all the money these drivers make for the top teams, they can definitely afford a mansion.
Yep. But I will say that with all that being aside, it's amazing to see a driver who's made so much, especially in his time winning some races at NASCAR's top level, give back to the community in any way he can, even in the most dangerous of ways, by means of flying helicopters. And flying a helicopter, no easy thing. I've never flown in a helicopter before personally, and while I do enjoy flying, helicopters do make me a bit nervous. So,
yep.
All right, I'm ready to close this. Any more thoughts you have on this subject, Tom?
Not that I could really think of.
Greg Biffle, keep up the good work, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're all rooting for you, and to every other helicopter pilot who is doing the very best they can to get these people what they need and help get these people out of the affected areas. Thank you so much for what you do, and keep it up. Keep up the good work.
Mm-hmm.
Ever brave, ever true.
Yep.
All right. Now we're on to another subject.
I just saw some shocking news out of the bankruptcy saga with Diamond Sports Group.
Mm-hmm.
One of the writers for the New York Times own site, The Athletic, who had been covering it down in Houston at their bankruptcy court, has said in a filing on Wednesday that Diamond Sports Group plans to drop all but the Atlanta Braves for their baseball teams. That now I'm also hearing it could just be the Tigers and the Rays. So yeah, heading into 2025, things could look pretty interesting. The MLB could add more teams to their in-market live stream coverage that would end blackouts. Not to mention the Guardians, Rangers, the Twins, and now it appears that the Brewers are also going to be dropped. That their deals were expiring at the end of the season.
Okay, I was beginning to wonder a little bit how this might affect you, but it sounds like to me it's not all that negative.
Oh yeah, you just pay like $20 a month or so to get the stream, to get in-market access, and you're good to go.
All right, forever how long you need. So, welcome to the future of sports. It's coming faster than even guys like me expected. But streaming is I guess the way to go.
Meanwhile, you got the Chicago White Sox, Bulls, and Blackhawks. They just launched their new network, and I'm not hearing good things about the launch. I mean, the only big fire that I see that has is DirecTV. Comcast had yet to carry it. I imagine YouTube TV won't. And now several channel markets are going to have it on over the air and digital sub-channels. Even Grand Rapids, of all places.
Ooh.
Like, seriously, that's Detroit territory, and the Griffins play there.
I was gonna say, I remember watching when we were on our way to the game back in August. We actually were able to watch Tigers baseball on the western side of the state.
Yep, they had resolved the Xfinity dispute with Valley in early August. So,
yeah. So it's things that I've kind of said in the past before. Maybe I'm just a broken record repeating this, but like I said, eventually there will come a time where streaming is the preferred option for everyone, and eventually it'll be more accessible to everyone. But still, there are limitations in place, and still some kinks that they got to work out. It's not all going to be perfect at the start.
NHL and I'm seeing a lot more NHL and NBA teams starting to put games on over-the-air channels. We can just pick up and get a digital antenna, and you can get them non-nationally televised games for free.
Yeah.
Plus, it's also in-market streaming option packages too. So, there's going to be a lot of ways going forward to replace the RSN models.
Yep, absolutely. And this is something now. Tyler knows more about this than I do. I'm still kind of working my way through. And just recently, me and my folks. Okay, Ty, believe this or not, me and my folks just recently signed up for a month's worth of Peacock just to watch Purdue football games. So it's
right.
So just one of those things that I'm still kind of learning, but
you might be needing it for more of the college basketball, Big East now games now on Peacock and Big Ten basketball.
Ooh, my mom's not gonna like this. She's a Butler fan. She loves watching the Butler Bulldogs, so we might have to extend our stay with Peacock.
Yeah, a lot of IndyCar fans have cut Peacock now that NBC no longer has the rights to that series.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Fox doesn't have us in such a similar streaming option.
Mm-hmm.
However, they're trying to partner with Disney and Warner Brothers for this series called Venue.
Yeah.
But a lawsuit with Fubo blocked that. So, for now. We'll see what happens going forward, but IndyCar just can't seem to catch a break right now. They were going to bank on that for the streaming, but with it blocked and the court case not happening until next year, things are not looking good. That series cannot just catch a break, even if we're putting all the races on Fox.
Oh man! And you know what? I enjoy that form of racing too. I love watching the IndyCar series. And just to have problems like this, being able to broadcast races. I know they just signed a new deal with Fox, but that's all I remember. But now just to hear all about this is it's a tragedy. And like Tyler said, that IndyCar just can't catch a break. Great product right now. Great form of racing. Fun to watch, but just having trouble breaking through in a lot of different ways.
A lot of the practice stuff is going to be on either Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2. So, and of course, it will likely have ads, so no more commercial-free coverage. So,
yeah,
that's something to just really factor in as well.
Absolutely. Although I will say it'll be nice to see Indy 500 practice again, even if it's on FS1. I've always enjoyed watching Indy 5. Like, that's kind of one of the things like that I always find intriguing. Like, one of the things that I've enjoyed most about the Indy 500 is the practices leading up to it. Like, you're trying to find out, all right, whose car is looking the fastest, like who's got the speed, and who might have to use pit strategy to win this race, for lack of better words. But we live in a changing world, and I'll admit this to you folks, I got to do a better job understanding this stuff and kind of looking more into, okay, who's going to have the rights? Like when all the stuff goes on the streaming, who's going to have the streaming rights?
I mean, heck, Amazon is going to have NBA games. They have the NFL. They're going to have NASCAR. And they also got the rights to produce their own hockey coverage in Canada on Monday nights.
That part, I think I remember just learning from Tyler over here. And that'll be an interesting experiment. Amazon live streaming some hockey in Canada. See what kind of demographics they can reach.
Well, the NFL, it's done well for the NFL.
I mean, Thursday Night Football, I will agree with that. Thursday Night Football seems to be doing really well on Amazon, and plenty of people are, especially those who have their subscriptions and that stuff, whether it's Amazon Prime. Plenty of people have been able to tune in, and it's a good thing for the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just see how things keep going forward. Of course, the big thing with the Amazon games, as well as any other streaming games, like the one we had in Brazil on Peacock and the one ESPN Plus game on Monday Night Football game, is that there's still air on over-the-air markets in stations in the markets of the two teams taking part. It's a standard practice by the NFL.
Yeah. And also I will say I'm one of those guys who has ESPN Plus by default thanks to Hulu, and it's nice that ESPN Plus is able to stream even NHL games that are within their. Get our display back.
We're on. We're back on.
Sorry about that, folks. We had a bit of a technical delay there, so I do some. So we apologize for those delays.
Don't learning new systems and conch out like that is not fun, but we're back on.
We're ready to continue rock and roll. I think we were still talking about the all the
streaming going on and all whatnot. Yeah.
I'll let you back to where you were.
But yeah, the Amazon's really going to be a big future. I mean, Apple TV, they have Friday Night Baseball. They also have Major Soccer, right? That whole is black free.
That's good. That's good, isn't it?
But leagues are going to really have to learn to adapt pretty well to the future of streaming in the U.S. and at the very least, if cables are going away pretty before you're going to see more smaller networks and whatnot start to go.
Oh yeah, I agree with what Tyler's. It's let's just be real. Cable is if it's not already 6 feet under, let's just say it's getting very, very close to being 6 feet under.
Yeah,
but and even I kind of understand being a guy who has Hulu right now, which we have live TV with that, but it's not cable by any means of the stretch. In fact, it's Hulu for me and my folks is pretty much the successor to cable.
Yep, I have YouTube TV after Hulu didn't want to play nice on my TV with T-Mobile, no internet. At least YouTube is working fine, no problem.
Yeah. I also have folks in my family who have YouTube TV, so there's always a possibility me and my mom and my dad, we could also end up switching to YouTube TV. We just, depends on pricing in the future, and one never knows. It's all about adapting these days.
Of course, DirecTV and Dish are about to merge too.
Okay, that I didn't know, actually.
Yeah, but it's been announced. It's going to go through the processes. We'll see what happens with Sling and DirecTV stream service. What happens to both of those as well?
Yeah. So it'll be very interesting with those two merging. It'll be interesting to see how the sports leagues approach this merger and what kind of conversations maybe come up there between them and those two, and say like the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, even NASCAR.
Right. Of course, we got 5 races on Amazon as well, so no no cable whatsoever for that.
Yeah. The thing that I'm probably the most intrigued by in terms of all this is what the hockey is going to do, or even college basketball. Will Amazon eventually get the rights to say some college basketball, or even more NHL games? That's something I'm going to be keeping an eye out for.
Yep. Well, I mean, they're not paying a good amount for NBA rights.
Absolutely, that is true.
So what's going to stop them from getting some of the NHL rights? The current package only is good through 28. So,
yep.
Could ESPN's time of hockey be over just as quickly as it began? Could TNT's run be over too?
Oh man, if we're gonna be, you know what? Okay, if we're gonna be switching leagues, if we're gonna be switching gears between streaming and ESPN and that stuff, you better come up with some good music then, because ESPN, they got some good music for the NHL, like the main theme that comes on every time games come. I love it. It's gonna be hard to beat those themes, but that's just personal taste, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing I can do to stop this.
Yep.
All right.
Nothing to stop you out, Trevor. Just unfortunately, a lot of the commentators might not be well popular in many people's eyes, but
yeah,
it's the film music hanger. Classic show.
Yeah. And who knows? ESPN, sometimes I find ESPN's positioning in the sports world to be kind of intriguing. They did get hockey back, but I wonder how long will that keep them really afloat in terms of keeping themselves as the so-called worldwide leader in sports.
They just signed a huge rights media deal for what will be less of regular season NBA coverage, but they keep the finals.
Okay.
So for all but 1 year, we'll have one of the conference finals in a rotation with NBC and Amazon.
Absolutely. So ESPN, they're more than hanging in there. They'll be around for a while. That's for sure.
They're launching their own direct-to-consumer standalone ESPN package. ESPN Plus does not get you the ESPN channels.
All right, so what Tyler's telling me then is they're adapting.
Yep, that'll be fine.
They'll be fine. I agree too. It seems like they're taking the right steps, even if people don't appreciate the ESPN we have these days, rather as opposed to the ESPN we had in the past, which was just nostalgic.
Uh-huh. Anyway, you got any other good topics?
Yeah, you know what? I got something else. I've been thinking about this. Sports fans. Yes, that's right. Speaking of hockey season, hockey's coming back. I'm a big hockey guy. We got the Blackhawks are coming back, but also the Red Wings. So I'm going to let Tyler start by previewing his Red Wings.
Thank you. The Red Wings win from basically making the playoffs. So needed help with the breakers. Mm-hmm. That didn't happen. The question Okay, I think we're back on. Good.
And we're back. Sorry about that, folks.
A couple of hiccups. Anyway, Jake, I don't think the Wings are gonna could make the playoffs. The question is, how will they do with their injuries this year, and how will the team do going forward?
Absolutely. All right. Tyler previewed his Red Wings. I'll preview the Blackhawks for you. I'll give you another. I know I talked about this in my Wax on Wednesday, but I'll give you guys a little bit more to think about. So, second year under Connor Bedard for the Blackhawks. He's, from what I understand, I think he's going to be at least an assistant captain, if not given the C or the captaincy.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting to see how much more Bedard progresses in his second year, how many more goals he'll score, and also. But in terms of the Blackhawks, okay, I don't think they're going to be a playoff team this year. I think there's still a lot of work to do there. I'm curious to see how, that defense for the Blackhawks, how much they're going to improve. Because they drafted Artem Lezhinov at number 2 in the previous NHL draft to try and help with that defense. Because that's where the Blackhawks struggled a lot with last season, on the defensive side of the puck. So, and that's what it takes to win a championship or Stanley Cups in the NHL. You got to have a great defense. Just ask those Blackhawks teams in the early 2010s. So, with that said, I think we can expect to see improvement with the Blackhawks this season. That much, I believe so. But a playoff run, I think they're still a year or two out from that, or making a bid to make the playoffs. I think there's still a lot of work and still a lot of pieces to. I'm curious to see how other guys like Frank Nazar, how they're going to help with this team, and Nick Foligno. What more will he contribute? So these are just some of my thoughts on the Blackhawks. It's a mystery year, but I think there'll be some fun times for the Blackhawks, but I don't know if they'll be a playoff team.
Yeah, that's a big question mark for them going forward in the Western Conference. Are they ready to start going back to the 2010 glory days of 2010, 2013, and 2015? Or do they still need work? That's a big question mark. Now, I also mentioned their new network. That's got to have its own things to be worked out, because viewers are going to take a small hit in the short term. All right.
Okay. So anyway, I guess while we're at it, I'll talk a little bit kind of since Ty talked about my team, I'll talk about his team too. I think this is a team that I think is going to be a playoff team this year. They came close last season, but this year I think they'll get in this year. They got plenty of pieces. Like Tyler, the Detroit Tigers themselves kind of on that trajectory where they're improving each and every year, adding talent. You got guys like Dylan Larkin, you got Patrick Kane, a couple other young guys who I think are stepping up as well. This could be I think this will be a fun Red Wings team to watch, and I'll be shocked, honestly, if they're not in the playoffs. So that's my thoughts there.
Yeah, it'll be a surprise. We'll see what happens with them going forward.
Absolutely. And like I said, for the Blackhawks, while I don't think it's going to be a playoff year, I think they'll improve. But the rebuild continues in Chicago.
That's all you can do. You just keep making those baby steps.
It's how every dream begins. And having Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane for so many years, and now being able to finally get free of those really huge contracts that kind of anchored the cap situation for the Blackhawks down for so many years. So there's still, like I said, still work to do there to drafting, free agent signings, scouting. Now, I'll say this, I was looking forward to watching a hockey player by the name of Oliver Moore, who played at Minnesota, but I don't know if he's going to make it his Blackhawks debut this season. From what I understand, I think he has one more year at Minnesota before he makes his debut.
So you might be waiting for it.
Yep, waiting patiently on some of the players that look so promising for the Blackhawks. Any players on the Red side that you think look very promising? Like any young prospects, Tom?
Not that I could think of, really.
We have a question.
Ooh, what do we got?
Do you think the Lions are worthy of the hype this year?
Well, we almost made the Super Bowl. everyone's saying it's Super Bowl or bust. Finally beat Seattle. They had a bye this week. With some injury concerns. I think they're definitely going to be worth it. Minnesota may have had a good run up top of the NFC North right now, but they're starting to get nervous about facing the Lions, and it's showing. They don't like what they're seeing.
Yeah. Personally, okay. Like I said, hurts me as a Bears fan, but this is a Super Bowl team. Tyler said, Super Bowl or bust. Everything is there for the Lions. They don't have very many weaknesses from what I can tell. It simply comes for the Lions, you know? Absolutely, I do. Rhonda, to answer your question, yeah. So far, they're showing that they're worthy of the hype. They're playing exciting football, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you know, when it comes to whether or not they'll make the Super Bowl, the thing is, they just got to avoid beating themselves, you know? Don't beat yourself. The only team, at least in the NFC side, I think that can really stop the Lions, in my opinion, is themselves. One guy on a Detroit Sports Network even said it. I agree. They just got to play their brand of football and don't make mistakes. Don't beat yourself. You can get there.
Very true. That's the thing. Just don't get in your own way.
Absolutely. And I think about it, honestly, I think the Lions, at the very least, they have the best chance to come to the NFC or as the NFC champions. San Francisco, I've got questions about.
Oh, yeah. It's not looking pretty. McCaffrey's injury isn't good at all.
That's the big thing hurting San Francisco right now is that McCaffrey injury. And I think it's going to be I still think it's going to be either Detroit or San Francisco that comes out of the NFC. It's just a matter of certain things. Like, for example, for San Francisco, can they get McCaffrey back at time to get red hot in the playoff? I still think they'll make that. San Fran's going to make the playoffs. But whether or not they can get back to the Super Bowl depends on how healthy McCaffrey is. Mm-hmm. Go for it, Tyler.
Yeah, that's a big – like what Jake said, that's the big question mark. Hopefully McCaffrey's injury not out for such a long period. I mean, granted, the Detroit fan, you're going to kind of want that, but that's probably selfish reasoning.
Yeah, I get that. You want to see you all want to see your Lions in the Super Bowl. I get it, but it is a fan base that deserves to see some good football because they've been there even in the 0-16 years. So, Rhonda, I hope that answers your question. But so far, playing like the Lions, they look like a Super Bowl team. Even through some of the imperfections they've had, they still look like a favorite to at least get to the Super Bowl.
The city had a good. Let me say this: with the Wings doing really good again, the Tigers in their surprise run, Lions making a Super Bowl. Detroit is on a good sports run right now. Yeah. Sure, the Pistons have to be the Texas Land and stink the joint, but someone's got to be that team.
Yep, every city's got one of those. Although I will say, being kind of selfish, I kind of was hoping it would be the Pistons because I'm a J9 guy. He went to Purdue University. That's the school I root for in college basketball. Yes, I know I'm an Oakland alumni, but I've always liked Purdue basketball even before I did Oakland. But I just want the Pistons to do because I like Jay Nivey. I want to see him do well and carry this Pistons team to a new level. Or maybe this year they can bounce back after the disaster that was last year.
We'll see.
We will. But so far, yeah, Lions are looking good. And the sport, in terms of stock, as we say, like investing, the sports for you guys, there's never been a time to invest stock in Detroit sports, especially when you got not just the Lions, but you got teams like the Tigers and the Wings whose stocks are climbing actually at the moment. If I'm being honest.
Yep. I mean, come on. I mentioned the Tigers running now in the ALDS. There's that reason. Absolutely. The surprise run came out of nowhere. The shocking upset against Houston was not expected. Mm-hmm. So, no one had Detroit making the playoffs back in the summer. And here we are.
Look at that. You got a chance to, hey, that's not for the Tigers or Tyler's favorite Detroit team, at least that's what I think. can't stop there, right? It's not over yet. You still got a chance to keep going and make more history, shock some more people. Don't stop there, right?
Yep. It feels like a team of destiny for a reason.
Absolutely.
Could Cleveland stop them? Maybe. Could either the Yankees or Royals stop them? Maybe. Could a team like the NL World team in the World Series, if they're making that far, stop them? Maybe. But we'll see. We just gotta enjoy this ride while we can.
Absolutely. It's been regardless of how it ends, the Tigers have exceeded expectations, and they've got plenty to build on for going into next season, regardless of what they do going forward.
Yep.
In the postseason of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, so good for the Tigers. Let's see if they can keep it up and turn some more heads. Ooh, did not expect that.
Not at all. And we all want to apologize for handling of the internet issues that we had earlier. That affected the team twice today. Hard to control that.
Yep, I apologize too. Hopefully, sports fans, you enjoyed this podcast, and hopefully we talked about some things that have you thinking about that, or hopefully we covered some things on this Friday podcast that have you sports fans thinking about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on your mind, Tyler, before we sign off?
I just don't care what happened with the Tigers in the ALDS against Cleveland. If we move on, great. If Cleveland wins, that's fine. The Tigers it's been such a fun run. Let's just see how it goes. If it ends this series, so be it.
Absolutely. And also, I just want to close out with a few things. First of all, this is from a Chicago sports perspective. I just want to get this in real quick. Really proud of the progress that Caleb Williams is showing in Chicago. I mean, there's still plenty for him to learn, still plenty for him to prove on, but he's getting better week in. We got each and every game, and I will say that maybe, just maybe, the Chicago Bears finally have a quarterback. And finally, I just want to send my thoughts and my prayer and send my heart out to those affected by Hurricane Helen.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in every one of those states, not just my cousins out there, Christian, Jordan, and Allison, and Kayla. I'm thinking of you out there, and I hope you are safe. And to everyone else out there, I'm wishing all the same thoughts and prayers, and stay safe out there.
Likewise.
I'm thinking of all of you, sending thoughts and prayers and good thoughts to everyone who is affected by Hurricane Helen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Sports fans, it's been great talking to you all. Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Avalette.
Signing off.
Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good weekend, everybody. We can end the stream.